Hey guys, and welcome to an AFK guide to Vindicta and Gorvek. So whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now this is an AFK guide, which means you can literally go away from your screen while killing this boss, but for that reason this method also has high requirements, being 90 plus combat stats, 96 plus prayer, 96 plus herblore, and 96 plus summoning. The final requirement is that you've completed the City of Santistan quest, which is the new quest just added to Runescape 3 for the Animate Dead spell, which requires level 84 magic to use. I don't want to scare anyone off, but this method, if you want to AFK the best way possible without ever having to worry about your health, you'll want to have these things listed here. These will come back in the gear setup. I'd like to give full credit to Frank from the PvMe Discord for creating this guide, and the PvMe Discord will be linked in the description below. I would have never thought about using magic tank armor, boots and gloves to AFK Vindicta. That was a pretty cool idea. Vindicta is a level 1000 Gold Rush Dungeon 2 boss with 200,000 life points. Vindicta is immune to stuns and immune to poison, so there's no reason in using Cinderbanes here, and he actually has 2 phases. Vindicta has a bunch of drops. You'll be making most of your money if you get Dragon Rider Lances, which the higher your reputation is, the higher chance you'll have. Your average GP per kill at this boss, including rare items, will be around 233 to 340k GP, depending on your reputation. This means you'll be making about 12.5 million GP per hour, excluding input costs, at Vindicta AFK using this method. The gear setup is fairly straightforward. Use 3 pieces of your best melee armor. I suggest using Trim Masterwork to reduce damage. You want 2 pieces of magic tank armor, being Ganodermic boots and gloves, if you don't want to get any Acto pieces. These will suffice perfectly, and they're tier 75 magic tank armor. The absolute best weapon to use here is a trimmed Masterwork spear, aka the Spear of Annihilation, which is a tier 92 weapon that extends your blades by 50%. You can absolutely do this with a scythe, with a superior Vista Spear, the regular Masterwork Spear, ZGS, as long as it's a high tier 2-handed melee weapon. You will get away with it. It will work. As for your aura, you can use different auras here, including dark magic, pendants, and that kind of stuff, but the best aura for the most amount of AFK-ness that you can literally leave your screen will have to be the Vampirism aura. It definitely makes the difference, and you'll see that in the clips coming soon. As for your Scrimshaw, you want to be using a Scrimshaw Vampirism or Superior Scrimshaw Vampirism at all times. Without it, you simply won't be able to AFK, and you'll eventually die. As for your ring, I would stick to a Ring of Death, but if you're confident in your ability to stay alive, you can use a different ring. If you're wondering about the white little spike things, those are alloy armor spikes, and they're really good to use here. You can alternatively also use rune armor spikes, but you know, I would just use the alloy ones. As for your inventory setup, it's really straightforward and simple. Best overloads, rune pouches for the runes, although this is not required. You can simply bring along the runes in your inventory because you have enough space anyways for the Animate Dead spell. An Axe Excalibur to occasionally heal a little bit, emergency food for that as well, the Ancient Elven Ritual Shard and Super Restore Potions for prayer renewal in case you aren't using the Penance Aura. As for the relics, there are 2 recommended setups on screen for both 500 and 650 monolith energy. That being said, you want to have at least persistent rage if possible, because without it, it really won't be that AFK. The action bar that is recommended by PvMe is on screen. I did try to fiddle around and use my different AFK action bars I've used for other bosses, but the problem was, even though the survivability was a lot higher using those action bars, kills were significantly slower at about 10 to 12 seconds slower, so that's not very good. Once you have the required kill count, being either 40 or 20 depending on your reputation, start an instance with the fastest spawn timer. Summon your Ripper Demon, use the Animate Dead spell, put on your Magic Prayer and Turmoil or Malevolence prayers, and you're ready to AFK. And really, that's all there really is to it. As long as your Animate Dead spell doesn't drop and you don't run out of prayer because you are using Vampirism. If you're using Penance, your health can get very low. I'll get to that in just a second. But if you're using this exact same setup, this exact same bar, you will have absolutely no issues AFKing Vindicta. In fact, I think this is easier to AFK than Greg or Hellware because your health never gets low. It really just never gets low. I've done this for 2 hours plus or something. I tried different setups, which I'll get to in a second, where my health did get low, but with this exact same setup, your health will really never drop below like 7,000. Maybe occasionally if you're like unlucky or you missed your overloads, which potion reservoirs could actually solve, but generally with this setup, you won't have any issues, like, ever. If you activate Penance, your health does get creepy low sometimes. I'm just going to say that right now. Even with this setup, with all the right stuff, your health does get low sometimes. But I don't think you should have any problems. You just use your Excalibur and you should be good to go. This exact same thing happens if you use any other aura than Vampirism, by the way. So eventually you're going to have to eat some kind of food if you are using vampirism, which, you know, if you don't want to have any issues whatsoever, you would use vampirism at this boss all the time, and you would simply only AFK this boss using your vampirism aura plus the vampirism scrimshaw. You run into the exact same problem if you use penance and a scythe. Even if you add pulverize to your bar, it just, at some point you're going to get really low. I don't know what it is, but it just happens, okay? And, you know, this is a boss after all, you're AFK, not some kind of Slayer mob. So I did try to change the bar up to make it more AFK, and it did kind of work, but the kills were like 10 seconds slower. So you know, it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Using this setup, you should be able to get around 1 minute 10 to 1 minute 16, maybe 1 minute 17 kills with the Trim Masterwork Spear, which means around 36 to 37 kills per hour. That is a very respectable amount of kills per hour fully AFK at this boss. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, be sure to leave a like down below, and maybe you consider subscribing, and don't forget to join the PVME Discord or my own, linked in the description below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.